Welcome back to the next tutorial in the series of creating Angry Birds in Scratch. So we've got our graphics set up, we've got our rotating bird set up, and we've got a nice slingshot sound for when it rotates. What we need to do now is we need to check. We were checking before if a key was pressed, what's going to happen to it for it to rotate. Now we need to check if a button's been pressed to launch the bird. So in this instance we're going to use the space bar. So for this we're going to need another if block, and this will go again inside the forever block here, and then if a space bar is pressed, so if the space key is pressed, we need to decide what's going to happen. Obviously when we launch the bird, it's either going to fly across the screen and hit something and get to the edge, or it's going to get to the upwards to the top of the screen and not hit anything at all. We'll sort out what happens in those scenarios in a second. So we're going to need to add some code underneath the if, so inside this loop, inside the if command, and we're going to create a loop. So we're going to repeat until, so whatever's inside here, if the space key is pressed, it's going to repeat whatever's in here until a certain condition is met here, and the condition we want to meet is if the bird is obviously hitting the edge of the screen. So if repeat until the bird is touching the edge. So what do we want to happen? Once the space key is pressed, we need the bird to move. So let's go on the motion controls, and we'll move 10 steps, so 10 slots, and this is going to move keep moving 10 steps until it touches the edge. So let's see what happens if we do that. So we can set the angle, and we can press the space bar, and now it's hit the edge of the screen. So the loop has stopped. So we'll sort out what has to happen with that now. Now to do this, we're going to have to get the bird flying in the air realistically. So in Angry Birds it kind of shoots up in the air, and then as it loses speed or it gets to a certain height, loses momentum, it starts dropping down. So we need to kind of replicate that realistic curve. So to do that, we're going to turn the bird in the air. Now we're going to turn it so many degrees. We're going to use a mathematical operator. So we're going to drag a mathematical operator in there. So it's going to turn. We're going to use sin. So it's going to turn the sin of something. So we want the sin of the direction that the bird is going in. So this hopefully should give us a nice little curve, or a more realistic curve, rather than just going in a straight line. It flies off. There we go. So it kind of went up in the air. Start it again. Up in the air, or down to the ground, depending on if you don't change the angle. Up in the air, and away it goes. Okay, so it's not done anything to the pig yet. Obviously it went past it and it hit it, but we've got a more realistic curve now. It still stops at the edge of the screen, which is fine, we can sort that out, but instead of just flying off in a straight unrealistic line, you've got a little bit more realism in there. The first thing that needs to happen once the bird has hit the right hand side of the screen is, obviously if it hasn't hit anything, it's lost a turn. So straight after it's touched the edge, it's done all this stuff, it's going to jump out of this little loop here, and we need to change, so put that just under there, change the bird's left by -1. So that's going to take 1 off the score, and obviously bring it down because it's in effect lost a life. Now obviously once it's lost a life, the bird then usually in the game would return back to the catapult if it had any lives left, but it's just stuck at the edge of the screen. So under here where it says change bird's left by -1, we need to put some more of this code in that we did at the beginning to point the bird in the right direction and set its X and Y coordinates. So we're just going to replicate that straight under there. Just scroll this down a little bit. Set the X position to minus 201, and set the Y to minus 100. So what should happen now, we stop the game and give it a go. We send one off flying across the screen, and then it's come right back again, and it's reduced the score by 1. So I had 3 lives, we've now got 2 lives because we went across the screen, but instead of it being stuck on the edge, it's now nicely back in the catapult, ready for the next launch. In the next tutorial we'll work out what has to happen if the bird hits the pigs, but right now that's it for this tutorial.